guys, it's Record. This is my equipment demo for my looper. This is an RC202 loop station. It's a tabletop looper, which means that it's not pedal use, which is nice because the one that I had before was pedal use. So the benefit of this is that it actually sounds a lot better, especially when I'm looping. There's a lot of little things that are nicer about it. I have my two channels here, 1 and 2, and I have a bunch of effects right here. Beat, filter, slicer, delay, PSIF, lo-fi, ring mod, delay. Those are all my little effects. The mic level up here, upper left, I can turn it up and down. And then I have kind of more knobs here on the right and on the left. Those big knobs, I can kind of play with effects. I don't use effects a whole lot, but it's nice to have them there in case I need them. So without further ado, let me show you guys a little bit of an example of how this looper breaks down. And I'll just do some loops for you guys and kind of explain them more in kind of a broader setting. I plug this into my Behringer MP40 amp, my Bluetooth amp. So let's get into some equipment review here with just some examples of some looping and how to do that. So now let me give you guys some examples here. So once again, I have my two channels here. I can kind of switch back and forth. Because it's all kind of on the table, it's really nice and kind of portable and a lot more mobile than something I would do with my feet. So I'll give you guys an example of kind of a basic loop to start out. This is my song Indian Eyes off my album Message to the People. I'm just going to kind of demo that. And then I'll show you guys kind of how I move back and forth between loops and kind of how I do that and how it works. So let's just kind of start with this here. So as you can see, I have my loop going here, and it's going through the amp, which, is off camera right now, my Behringer MP40. And I can turn it down a little bit just so I can talk over it. I can always just control the volume of the loop with the amp volume itself, just kind of going back and forth between that. But now I have this as an example, so I can add another loop over top of that, like this. So then once again, I'm just looping that. And if I turn my mic, well, this is just my mic volume, so that controls that. If I turn it down a little more just so I can talk over it, once again, I'm controlling my whole volume kind of with the amp, so I can turn my mic up again a little bit. But once again, so here's kind of these are two loops like on one channel right away. With every song I'll kind of go back and forth depending on what the song needs. I usually use two channels because it gives the song an arrangement. So I have two loops on one channel here. So like if I move to the next channel, then I can kind of switch back and forth, and I'll show you guys that in a second. So if I switch back to the second channel, for example, it would be like this. Ha, ha, see, kai, you, ha, ha, Hokotan now. So you'll see that now I have another kind of second loop happening. In terms of the looping process, the coloring, if it's red, it's a loop that's going on. And if it's yellow, if I press this again it turns yellow, then it's recording a new loop. So I have to watch for the coloring, I have to watch for that process. But once again, I have two different channels happening here. I can loop the same thing again, or create another loop over top of it. So I'll just give you guys another example of that. So, ha, ha, see, kai, you, ha, ha, Hokotan now. So as you can see, it turned yellow just now. And that means that it was recording a new loop. So now if I go back and forth, I can take out the second channel and I go back to the bass. For example, now it's going back to this. So this is just the first set. And in terms of how many loops I can have in each channel, it's kind of unlimited, which is also really nice. I can kind of play around with different settings and stuff like that. So, but once again, I just have this channel happening right now. And then if I want to bring in the second channel, I just go back to this, to number 2, and I bring it back in. And then I bring it back in on the 1, so it comes in on the rhythm, for instance. So here's an example. So let me go back. Now let me go back to just kind of playing this first channel, and I'll show you guys some of these effects that I have here. Each effect kind of does something different. Once again, I don't use effects a whole lot, but they are fun to kind of create like a live energy, especially when you're tracking this shit live. You know, I won't really use it for studio oftentimes. Studio work I use Logic, I don't really use the looper. But oftentimes, like when you're doing a live setting, you're doing a song live, it's a lot of fun to just kind of get the audience, keep the audience engaged with different effects, and just kind of keep that momentum going with just kind of playing with different sounds and just what those sounds sound like. So, for example, let me just go through each of these effects real quick, and then this concludes this tutorial. And if you guys have any questions about my equipment or anything, please comment down below. But once again, so here we're starting with P shift. I'll just give you guys an example of that. So that's just gonna blink. So it doesn't do much, but it just kind of creates like a weird thing when I'm talking over it and my voice is kind of funny. So there's that. I'm just going to go one by one and then I'll kind of go in between them. So there's that. Next, lo-fi. So once again, this is like when I'm talking over it. So some of these effects are for the mic itself, some of them are for the actual loops. So lo-fi. Next, ring mod. So this is again, if I talk over it, it's just creating kind of a fun robotic effect. So like that. And it's really fun. All this stuff is really fun. Next, delay. Delay. So that's straightforward. If you guys know what delay is, you know, it echoes my voice. So, hello, hello, hello. Or if I beatbox over it. So it's kind of fun, it just creates like a momentum. So that's the first kind of batch. That's the first batch of effects there. Next I have beat. So let me show you guys what this is. This basically hangs on a part of the thing. So once again, the left side is my effects for my voice, over top of my voice. The right side is my effects for the looping. So once again, I'm going to beat. It just hangs on whatever part of the beat you stopped on. And this is common in a lot of EADS music. So if I'm creating an EADS illusion through an a cappella vibe, I could do that, like a techno beat, which is a lot of fun. It's basically just hanging on that. And then I can create a new loop over top of that if I want to, and kind of just like keep the song interesting with the beat effect and just kind of that repetitious beat. So next, slicer. Once again, it just basically just crops it. This is almost like kind of a chop effect in a live setting. It takes the beat, but it takes out all the echoes, it takes out all the reverb, so it kind of sounds a little kind of broken. Next, we have filter. And this is once again really interesting for kind of EADS music, dance music, so... And then this is where I would use this knob to kind of play around with it. Once again, this is a very kind of DJ common effect. A lot of DJs use this effect. So there's that. And then this together with beats is cool, but I'll go to that in a second. So next we have a delay again. And this delays the beat. So it does the same thing it did with my voice before, but with the beat. So once again, delay. I have that kind of delay with the beat. So now, let me show you guys kind of how to combine some of these. So once again, I have beat, and then let me do beat and then filter. So it creates a beat and now it's filtered. So this is very, very techno. Dance music, take away the filter, or take away the beat. Once again, and because it's on the right, I'm only controlling it with this knob. The left knob will control anything that I do with my voice. So this is just kind of a fun little thing. I can do, let's see, I can do slicer and delay. There's that. For example. Next, let me see, beat, slicer. So it's just kind of fun to just like hear how these different effects sound. Filter, slicer. I can just go diagonal and just play around with them like that. So there's that part. Once again, that's the beat. There's a lot more to do there, but that's kind of the beat section of the pad. Next, we could go to the voice. So once again, P-Sift in ring mod would sound like this. So it kind of creates that Daft Punk effect. If you listen to like late 90s kind of techno, creating that effect. Next, we have lo-fi delay. This is really fun for anybody kind of live in a live setting. It's going to sound the most interesting. You know, once again, all of these effects will sound the most interesting when you're away from the amp. So it kind of creates that effect. So once again, lo-fi delay, creating that voice. It's like a kind of an echoey tunnel, or like a megaphone syndrome. I'd like to call it the megaphone syndrome. Next we have ring mod. Ring mod. So now I have 3 of these lo-fi delay ring mod. I take away delay, just does that, you know, once again. So that gives you the idea. You can play around with them. But yeah, once again, I have 2 channels. I have effects. I have my mic volume I can turn off and on. So now to turn off loops, if I want to, for instance, take away a channel, so I'll bring the channel back in, I press the middle button, and then if I want to take away the channel, I press this button here on the right, and then if I want to stop a loop, once again I do this. So I'm just going to end it with bringing it back here, bringing it back here. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm Record, and please check out my music anywhere. It's on any streaming platform. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye. Revolutionize and designize instead, yeah, with Indian eyes.